What's going on, guys? Welcome back to part 3 of finishing your first ever track. Um, in part 1, we used our reference track, which is One House by E. Duke, and we set up an arrangement with empty MIDI clips to basically blueprint what we're going to need and where we're going to need it to finish the track. In part 2, we did the kick and most of the drums. And now in part 3, I'm going to be creating a bass, showing you where to put it, how to write a bass line, and how to make it fit well with your kick and your other sounds in the track. So just to save time, I already made a bass sound, and if you have Silent, you can download the bass. It's one single preset in the Dropbox link below. I already did this here, and this is what it sounds like. So I'll just talk about it real quick. Just a simple saw wave with the cutoff very low from filter A, from oscillator A, I'm sorry. A little distortion with the overdrive, some EQing, cutoff mod with slow decay, slow sustain, and a slower release, a little pitch LFO, resonation and cutoff LFO 2, and the miss wheel I have the LFO 2 gain and the cutoff AB slightly ajarred to the right. Mono legato is a little under halfway, and I have that turned on. So this is how I write my bass lines. I do like to use that typical Moonbaton beat where it hits on the 1-1-3 and the 1-2-2, and that's basically right here. Not the 1-1-3. It would be the 1-1-4. I'm sorry. So it would be on the 4th 16th note of the bar and the 5th, 6th, 7th 16th note of the bar where it goes that dunk 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 dunk, like the Latin vibe. So this is what I did, and I do have my bass notes. Some of it hitting them right on the kick. Some of them are overlapping with the kick, and this is what it sounds like. Yeah, I want to delete that actually. Okay, so I do end the 4-bar loop with the note going to the 5th, and I just think you don't want the same exact 1 bar going over and over and over again. I mean, yes, 3 out of the 4 bars are exactly the same, but when you have that variation at the end, it's like a resolution to the melody. Let me just fix this, put this everywhere. And once again, guys, I'm just following along with the empty MIDI bass that we made here from the arrangement. So now that we have that, I'm going to delete that. We don't need that anymore. So what else I did with this bass was I didn't do any EQing. I can actually delete that. I dragged in an LFO tool to sidechain it to the kick. So let's open up the kick, and we can visually see the kick. So you don't really want the bass coming in where the kick is. I know this looks small, but we did do some processing to it with some saturation. So it is, if I was to freeze and flatten this right now, it would look a lot bigger than this. So I basically have, the kick is short. It ends like right before halfway to the next beat. So what I do is I drag this out. So this is about the same size of in between both kicks. So as you can see, it gets the full volume right around when the kick is done, and it starts coming up in volume as the kick is going down in volume. So that's what I did with that. You could use the compressor, and if you don't have LFO tool, how to sidechain to the kick is you bring in a regular compressor. You click this down arrow, hit sidechain, and then select where you want it from, and I would put it on kick G, and then so now you could see the gain reduction, the sound, the volume's coming down every time the kick signals out to this compressor. So I'm going to delete that because I have the LFO tool, and now we need to do a filtered bass. So I'm not going to delete this one because, as you can see, I have the notes for automation for later on in the series. So when I'm done with this, I'm going to change it to this color and put it in the save for later group. But how I'm going to do this, I'm going to duplicate this, Command D, and delete every MIDI track except for one. And then I'm going to drag this and follow along with this MIDI. So you don't want to just, when you copy and paste, you don't want to paste it here because the notes in the beginning are going to be different from the notes at the end. So that's why I drag it here and then trim it like so. This one is a full bar of the, or full 4 bars of that. So now I know where the mid bass is. We're going to rename it filtered bass actually. And then color this out. And drag it up into the save for later folder. Okay, so for the filtered bass, it's going to be pretty much the same as the main bass, but I am going to bring in an EQ8. And we're going to cut out the low end. So I usually go right around like 170 to 170 to 200, but play around with it, see how you like it with your ears. Okay, yeah, I like it right there. Okay, so that's what we got for now. 8 bars. So now we also have these mid bass hits that only come in the intro. So I'm gonna Command Shift T, make it that brown, dash mid bass hits. So I'm gonna just go back to the reference track now, and we're gonna see where this is labeled, what the sound is. So it's a very low volume, very minimal bass sound. So I'm just gonna draw in. All right, so I don't even think it's a full beat. Might just be half a beat here. I think it's 3. So I think we could go something like this. All right. So there's no sound coming out from over here. I'm actually going to make a sound for you guys from Operator, just in case you don't have Silent or Serum or Massive or anything like that. So it's going to be a pretty simple sound. Let's see what we got. All right. We're going to bring this down. Yeah, I'm really trying. I'm having trouble figuring out how many notes they have here. So I'm just going to do this. And we're going to bring in oscillator B. Take the low end out of this. We're going to actually make this a triangle wave. Let's try a saw. right, so this one actually could probably stay a sine, and maybe the third one become a saw. And we're gonna play around with the filter here. Okay. I don't want to get too hung up on this. I'm just going to add some audio effects. Let's get some overdrive. And let's actually play around with this. Okay. And maybe we'll try some redux. And EQ out the high end. All right, that sounds pretty cool. All right, yep, I like that one. So now we have this little hit in the intro. All right, and we're gonna follow this and copy the MIDI. So I don't think we have any automation notes on this. We're done with this, and this is what we have for the intro. Okay, so if we wanted to also, like, maybe in the second drop, we could bring these back in every 4 bars or something like that. Like, let's just see how this sounds. It doesn't sound too good. That's probably why they had it just in the intro. And that is it for the bass. Also, wait, real quick. If there's no kick playing and the bass is going, like right here, you could see that we have the bass going, but there's no kick. We're going to automate the LFO tool to not be on for this part. So the LFO tool is only going to be used when the kick is going. Don't really see any other parts except for that, and that is it. So I know we didn't do that much in this episode. I just want to keep it simple with just the bass. Next week, I'm going to be doing the snare builds and FX risers and the white noise risers and stuff like that. So it will start to come together and sound like an actual track with like peaks and valleys and suspension and shit like that. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.